So, last class we have discussed about Android ADT bundle and what are the Android Studio and this application we have discussed. So now we are going to discuss about Android virtual device. So AVD. So normally we are going to create our own Android devices using emulator virtual devices. Sometimes we may not having a mobile phone for developer. Nowadays can use our mobile phone. Developer option is there. If you go and explore developer option, using that we can enable. But instead of doing like this, in my Android Studio itself, I can create a emulator and I can launch and see how it works. So that is what AVD manager, Android virtual device. So this configuration consists of like a real Android phone. You can emulator, you can feel, you can simulate the emulator. That is what. So by clicking the tools, AVD manager, you can able to see the Android virtual device. So what are the software requirements for installing the Android Studio? So it requires Windows 7, 8, 10. Windows 10 is mandatory. If you are using Windows 10, it will work correctly. And it requires minimum 3, 3 GB RAM. RAM speed is more. If RAM speed is more, only you can, the processor will be very high. Then 2 GB disk space is required. Intel processor, yes, these are the requirements for installing the Android Studio in your computer. So first thing, if you see, this is what Android virtual device manage. So here I can add, you can see here, Android TV, Android Wear, Automoto, so Pixel. So what is your devices? You can choose. According to that, you can create the Android apps. So the target devices is mentioned here. When you're creating the devices, you don't need to implement the actual device. If you are executing the code in this device, when you're going to install in your target device, it will automatically work. Both is having equal functionality. Next, you have to select the phone. For example, I want to create an Android app for this mobile phone. So how I'm going to create? I can select the hardware mobile phone. The next. This is what system image for what operating system, that is Pi, Oreo. What operating system am I going to design my app? That also we can design. Then whether I'm going to show the short up orientation, whether it can be portrait or landscape, we can choose. Next one. By using this, we can create our own virtual devices and we can implement our code and see how the apps work. Then, if it works correctly in this environment, then sure, it is 100% sure. Real-time environment, we can implement this. Yeah. Next, that is what how I'm going to see APA. APA is very important. That is application programming environment. So that is what target devices. We can clearly mention the target devices here. So we can configure. So next, how I'm going to launch the emulator. To start the emulator, open the AVD manager and you have to click the run. Automatically the emulator will run. So emulator work based on your coding. So this is what the emulator, how I'm going to set up the Android. You have to download the Android operating system, Android Studio, using that and in the mobile in the web page. And after downloading that, you need to install it. So these are the steps which is used for installing. First step, it will have to go next, and the second one, you have to select these options, and then we have to find the part name. This are all will be automatically will be configured. No need to change anything. This okay. Then next you have to give. Then the Android application will be created. So file new project. So creating the project using file new projects. So here you can see the project template. So by default, we will be selecting the empty activity. So empty activity, we will be selecting the empty activity for creating the apps. Next, after that, so next class we will be discussing about Android architecture. So this is very, very important component, Android architecture. Okay, thank you.